A very good afternoon to all my dear students. Vindhya, Arjun, Omkar, Ravi, all of you, a very good afternoon. Mystica. Omkar has already raised his hand. So Omkar, you can write down if you have any query in the chat box and we will discuss it in between. I hope you have revised. Jatin, Sarla, Prabhat, T, Sai, Pranavi, Chaitanya, all of you, welcome to the class. Rachna, everybody, a very good afternoon. So I hope you have revised what we have done in the previous lecture. We have already started Unit 3 of Sale of Goods Act, in which we have understood about the ownership getting transferred from the seller to the buyer. We have discussed how different goods are affected in a different way. And today we will be moving ahead in the chapter in which we are going to understand how the sale happens in case the person is not an owner. So we have discussed about the legal rights and duties of the buyers and sellers while passing the property ownership, and the goods are delivered, and also the risk passes prima facie with the property. So I hope no doubts till section 26. So before proceeding ahead, we will have a quick recap of what we did in the previous class. So if the property belongs to the seller, property means ownership. So if I am the owner of the goods, I will bear the risk. And the moment the goods are sold to the buyer, he becomes the owner and he will bear the risk. Now the question to you is, you have discussed about a certain and specific goods. But we said that a certain goods are not defined. Then how do the certain goods get determined? What is the definition for a certain goods? Can anyone tell me in the chat box? We have said that a certain goods are the goods which are not defined in the Act, but these are the goods which are, how are they interpreted? They are interpreted, judicially interpreted. Very good. So it depends from case to case how we have to determine these types of goods. Good afternoon, Arjun, Preeti, Ravi Kumar, all those who have just joined the class. Tanisha, welcome to the class. I'm looking for your judicially interpreted. Yes, Mystica, absolutely correct. Ma'am, I have doubt in example 12. Akshat Jain. Okay, Akshat, we will just go through that doubt. Nena, Mosami, any more doubts, children? Out of the lot, the goods are selected. It is a certain goods. Yes, Bindya, absolutely correct. Okay. So example number 12 only I could see. When the goods are lying in bulk, they are uncertain. Absolutely correct, Mr. Sandeep Thakur. So out of uncertain, when we pick and pack the goods, they become a certain goods. That's nice. मुझे सेल एंड कैश समझ नहीं आया, एग्जाम्पल दे देना मिस्टर जतिन. ओके मिस्टर जतिन, अभी जब हम रिवाइज करेंगे, so we will do its examples. All right, welcome to the class, Tanya Sharma, all of you. Prabhat Roy says, ma'am, with your teaching and my revision, I'm left with no doubts. That's excellent, Prabhat. I'm so happy to read this. So proud of you all students who have been revising also thoroughly and who are studying nicely. So well done. So now example 12, I'll be taking up those who have shared the doubts. But first, let's have a quick recap. So in case of specific goods and a certain goods, how does the delivery happen? So there were three methods. What are those three stages? Write down in the chat box. Meanwhile, I'm opening the study material. What are the three methods in which the passing of property takes place in case of specific goods? All right. Yes, I'm waiting to see your answers. So here it is specific and certain goods. When the goods are in the deliverable state, they are to be put in the deliverable state. And when the seller has to ascertain the price, when they're already in the deliverable state, the property passes immediately. Excellent. And when they are to be put, then once they are put in the deliverable state, packing of the goods is done or the operating system has been installed to inform the buyer, the property passes. And here the carpets were to be laid down in order to determine the price. So I told you the tomatoes to be weighed by the vendor and then he will decide the price. Then the property passes from the seller to the buyer. But what was the cases in case of uncertain goods? There are two things. The examiner gives you a question like this. For example, we have a question. Yes, we have a question related to this. Explain the provisions relating to sale of uncertain goods and its appropriation. So what are you going to write in this kind of question? So when it is written sale of uncertain goods and its appropriation, raise your hands and tell me what are you going to write in this answer. First of all, you will have to define the uncertain goods. You will tell them that the goods which are identified by description, the goods which have to be determined and picked up out of the uncertain goods. After that, you will tell them that the appropriation of goods means the proper selection of goods, and these are the methods to be followed for the appropriation of goods, that the goods must match with the description. They must be in deliverable state. There is an unconditional appropriation, means he is not reserving his right to dispose of the goods. Appropriation can be made by the buyer or by the seller with the assent of the buyer, or by the buyer with the assent of the seller. Assent may be given after or before the appropriation. If you write all these points beautifully and describe them, then you get 6 out of 6 marks. Also the second point. Now this is the first point, children. This is the first point, goods identified by description, and ये उसकी conditions. Second point क्या है इसका? Uncertain goods का second point कौन बताएगा? Very good. Sarla Devi, excellent. Vindhya, very nice. Sandeep Thakur, supermarket case. Yes, examples, very nice. Omkar, we are not doing accounts. You're asking me miscellaneous expenses. Goods must be in deliverable state. Okay. Delivery of goods. Very good, Vindhya. Delivery of goods to the carrier. Yes, Tanisha. Very nice. And Rachna. Yes, Rachna, absolutely. In that very example, if he is taking care of the goods as a baby, he will be, then in that case, seller will be responsible if he has not taken the care of the goods. Okay? That's correct what you have written in the chat box. Yes, Priya, your chats are visible. But the only thing is I have to go and check one by one. So सबने ठीक लिखा है. First is goods identified by description, and the second point is delivery of the goods sent by courier or to the carrier to whom the goods are given, who will be carrying your goods, who will be acting as a bailee. So once he has given the goods to the carrier or the bailee buyer, or the carrier who is acting as a bailee or the agent of the buyer, and he's not reserving the right to disposal, here the goods are said to be appropriated. तो दो तरह से appropriation हो रही है, एक तो 6 conditions के साथ, and एक second point है delivery of goods to the carrier. Here, if any loss happens, seller will not be held liable. Why the seller is not held liable? Under section 23, subsection 2, why the seller is not held liable? Tell me the answer. Yes, Priya. Tell. Why the seller is not held liable? Where are others not responding? Very good, Sri Krishna. Yes. Speak.
He does not reserve the right of disposal.
Excellent. Very nice. Because he has not reserved the right to disposal. Yes, Sandeep.
Yes, ma'am. Same case, ma'am. Seller has no right of disposal. So it means ownership is already passed buyer. So buyer is responsible for that.
Sandeep, what kind of appropriation of goods it is?
Ma'am, in case unconditional.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, Sarla Devi. What is conditional appropriation then? Yes, Sarla Devi, you want to speak? Then what is conditional appropriation?
This is conditionally appropriated, ma'am. So where seller, like he has the reserve to write of the disposal, and it's for certain conditions are there.
Excellent. Very good. I'm so happy all the students are answering so nicely. Well done. All right. Let's proceed ahead. So all of you are very clear upon this point. After that, children, we have discussed example 12. Okay, somebody had a problem. We are going to take that also. Goods sent on approval or sale or return basis. Any doubts in section 24? So what are the three cases? How does the ownership passes in case the goods sent on approval? The goods are delivered to the buyer on approval, sale on return basis. Here the property passes. Number one, when he gives his approval. Number two, he does not give his approval without giving the notice of rejection. He retains it for more than a period. Or he does something which is equivalent to acceptance. So example 6, everybody remembers, where he has played the guitar, that means he has accepted the goods. If the jewelry was given on sale on return basis, and he can also pledge the goods. So if I am a seller, I am the seller, Mr. A, who has given the goods to Mr. B on sale on return basis, and Mr. B pledges my goods further, can we say B has become the owner of the goods? Yes or no? Can we say B has become the owner of the goods? Come on, answer me in the chat box. Sandeep says no. Tanisha says yes. Shri Krishna, yes. Naina, yes. Priya, Prabhat, Rachna, everybody. Goods gum ho jate. Okay, Rachna, I'll read your query. Rithi, yes. Ansari, Tamanna, everybody has given the correct answer. Why are they saying yes? That's absolutely correct, because even if you have pledged the goods, that means you have shown the acceptance. Because if he pledges or sells, means he has accepted the goods. Now he becomes the owner. That's why when he pledged the goods with C, A will have no right. He can only recover the money from B because it has already been pledged. Similarly, here also, when the goods have been given on trial or approval or return basis, then after a reasonable time, if he has still retained, he is bound to pay the price. Why he is bound to pay the price? Because वो मान लिया गया है कि now he is the owner. Now somebody had a doubt on the condition of cash only. In the same example number 7, children, if there was a condition that the cash has to be paid, then if it is a sale on cash and return basis, या तो आप कैश पे करो या रिटर्न करो. In that case, if you pledge the goods, you do not become the buyer. Why? You do not become the owner because cash has to be paid. So what will the seller do? Seller will go and get his goods back. He can recover the jewelry from C because this pledge is not valid. Cash was the condition. And where this topic ends, sale for cash and return, reservation of right to disposal starts, it also says the same thing. That means where conditions have to be satisfied, cash needs to be paid, property will not be passed. Now, what are the conditions under which section 25 will become applicable? So, Rachna is asking, agar goods gum ho jate hain, to kiski responsibility hai? That is what the chapter is all about, Miss Rachna Bang. That is what we're doing, child. Whosoever is the owner will bear the loss. If I am sending the goods to you under section 23 subsection 2, you, the buyer, is responsible. I am sending the goods under section 25. I am reserving my right to disposal. I, the seller, will be responsible. Clear? Now, under which circumstances right to disposal may be reserved? If the goods are shipped or delivered to a railway administration for courier or by bill of lading or railway receipt. So I told you, if I'm using any document of title to goods, that means the goods are to be delivered to the owner of seller or his agent. Here, I have reserved my right to dispose. Or he is drawing a bill on him or a check on him, bill of exchange or check is being used, then I have a fear that maybe you not accept or pay my bill or my check gets dishonored. Here, the property will not. Is that clear? And then we discuss section 26, which says prima facie, seller's risk till the property passes to the buyer, buyer's risk once the property has been passed. So A bids for an antique painting at a sale by auction. What is the meaning of auction sale? Now, while you were doing contract act, you have heard about this word that the goods are put on auction. It's an invitation to offer. And when you give an offer, you're quoting the price and the auctioneer will give you acceptance. So this is a kind of auction sale that takes place. Here, if after bidding, the auctioneer struck his hammer to give his acceptance and he hit the antique, which gets damaged, who will bear the loss? So I am giving you a situation. There is an auction sale going on. I have Pari Boyer says, ma'am, please explain in Hindi also. Okay, Pari, I will explain this concept first in English and then I will explain you in Hindi also. So I have put up an auction sale. I have invited all of you to do the bidding for this water bottle. So when you give me the bids, ma'am, 700, 900, 1000, I say 1200. What is this? These are the biddings come. The rates that the buyers are quoting. See, for example, I am the auctioneer and when I do the fall of hammer, tuck karke karte hai, that means I'm giving my acceptance. So at 1200, I'm giving my acceptance, but I by mistake hit this bottle only and it gets destroyed, damaged. Who will bear the loss? The seller or the buyer? And why? Sarla says seller. Many of you have written, ma'am, seller. Why? What's the reason? Priya says seller. Jatin, Ankita, Sri Krishna, Kausar, everybody's saying, ma'am, seller will be held responsible. Tanisha, excellent. Palak Jha. But why? Give me the answer. Why? Because ownership is not transferred. Very good. Because the goods have got destroyed in my shop because of my mistake only. Let's take another example. I am the seller and I'm showing you this water bottle and it fell down from my hand and it's broken. Then also I am responsible because abhi ownership nahi passed. Whosoever is the owner bears the risk. This is the crux of this chapter. Everywhere it is writing the same. But what were the two qualifications? Whosoever makes a delay will be held responsible, and in case of a default or delay, the seller's duty is to act as a bailee until the risk has been passed. It is your duty to take care of the goods as paid. Now, example 12, which we are going to do, pay full attention. A contracted to sell 100 bales of cotton to B, which were to be delivered in February. B took the delivery of the part of the cotton and made a default in accepting the remainder. So there were 100 bales of cotton which were to be delivered in February. Consequently, the cotton becomes now B took the delivery of the part of the cotton and further has been left. And now the cotton becomes unfit for use. The loss has to be borne by the buyer. Now tell me the first part of the case. What is he trying to teach you? He's trying to tell you whosoever makes a delay will be held liable. Yes or no? So, but he made a default in accepting. Now, how are you going to answer this one? अगर पेपर में क्वेश्चन आता है, somebody was asking in Hindi. अगर पेपर में बेटा ये क्वेश्चन आता है तो आप पहले उसे एक्सप्लेन करोगे कि प्राइमा फेसी रिस्क किसका होता है. मैंने आपको बताया था प्राइमा फेसी का मतलब, मदर रूम में आई, उसने देखा कि ब्रदर मार रहा है सिस्टर को, तो मदर के लिए ब्रदर गुनहगार है, जो दिखाई दे रहा है, व्हाट इज विजिबल टू योर आईज। सो सेल ऑफ गुड्स में आपकी आईज को क्या विजिबल है? सेलर की दुकान में गुड्स पड़े हैं तो सेलर ओनर है, जब उसने गुड्स बेच दिए बायर को तो बायर ओनर है, जब सेलर ओनर है तो सेलर जिम्मेवार है, जब बायर ओनर है तो बायर जिम्मेवार। In English, when the seller is the owner, he will be liable. Once I have told the buyer कि आके अपने goods ले जाइए, उसने default कर दिया, he has made a delay. So one of the qualification is buyer will have to bear the loss. First point. Second point, it is said that the duties of either buyer and seller as a bailee will not be affected even if the risk has passed. It is the duty to take care as a man of ordinary prudence would have taken. वो कहते हैं सेलिंग रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से पीछा नहीं छुड़ा सकता। मतलब अगर कॉटन खराब हो रही थी और मेरे को पता है, मैं सेलर हूं, मेरे पास बायर के गुड्स पड़े हैं, अगर मैं उन्हें अंदर रख लेती या फिर कहीं सेफ जगह पे रखती तो शायद कॉटन खराब ना होती। तो कोर्ट में ये प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि मैंने एज अ बेली अगर ध्यान नहीं रखा तो आई कैन ऑल्सो बी हेल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल। The liability to bear the loss if the property is destroyed passes with ownership. Parties may agree to the contrary. However, the parties may agree that the risk will pass sometime after or before the property has passed. So it is upon the choice of the parties. फिर से क्या बात आ जाती है? It depends from case to case. Suppose मैं सेलर हूं, मैंने ध्यान नहीं रखा, मेरी गलती की वजह से कोर्ट में बायर ने प्रूव कर दिया कि मैम ने ध्यान नहीं रखा और इसलिए गुड्स डिस्ट्रॉय हो, एंड वो चीज ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग रोल प्ले कर रही है रादर देन द बायर्स डिफॉल्ट। बायर ने जो डिले करा उसकी अपनी मजबूरी थी, फिर सेलर की जिम्मेवारी आ जाएगी। पर बायर ने जानबूझकर डिले करा, सेलर ध्यान रख रहा था, फिर भी डैमेज हो गया तो बायर को भी। दोनों पॉइंट्स लिखकर आने पेपर में। ओके, बोथ द पॉइंट्स हैव टू बी रिटन। Everybody is clear now? Example number 12 also we have discussed. I hope no doubts in this. Clear? Now I'm not going to open all the chats and see because I can find it out that it's clear. Now we are going to start another new topic, that is transfer of title by non-owner. There is a Latin maxim which says nemo dat quod non habet, which means no one can sell what he has not bought. Now tell me one thing, section 27 to 30 is very interesting. Provided you pay full attention, then you will understand each and every line. Generally, out of every 2 question papers, you have 1 question out of this topic, that is section 27 to 30. Very, very important. Okay. If I am the owner of this water bottle, I can sell it. Say, for example, I have borrowed this another water bottle from my friend. Now B comes to my shop and I am trying to sell this water bottle to B. Can I do it legally? Tell me. A common sense question. This is not my water bottle. This is my friend's water bottle. Mausami says no. Sandeep, Akshit, Verma, Jatin. Everybody says no. Riddhi, Janvi, nice. When I close the screen share, I can easily read your answers in the chat box floating over here. Yes, ma'am, because you're not an owner over here. Very good. Very good. Vindhya, Shri Krishna, everybody. So what is happening? If I'm not the owner, I can sell the goods. But in today's class, we will understand 7 to 8 such exceptions in which even when you're not the owner, you can still sell the goods. So every rule and law has an exception to that. आपने consideration में पढ़ा था Indian contract में that no consideration, no contract. But there were 5 to 6 exceptions to that. So wherever any law or rule is made, law always try to give you exceptions so that innocent buyer does not have to suffer. Now, at the same time, I have these water bottles in my shop. I want to do the sale in Delhi. So I am sitting in Chandigarh. It is very difficult to go and travel Delhi and do the business every day. So I appointed Mr. Arjun. So Arjun Majumdar, who is in my class, I called him. I said, I want to keep an agent who will sell my products in Delhi. So now here Arjun is working as my agent. Can Arjun sell the water bottles that I'm sending to him? Now can he sell it even though he's not an owner? Very good. Yes, he can sell it. Why? Because I have given him the permission. I am the principal. So here the buyer who is buying the goods from Arjun, he will come to the shop. He will not ask Arjun, are you owner or not, or whose agent are you? वो तो सिर्फ देखेगा दुकान है, उस पे goods पड़े हैं और वो उससे purchase कर ले. So buyer का तो फिर गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. तो अगर हम law blindly apply करें, आप तो बोलोगे he is not the owner. You cannot pass the title. You cannot pass the ownership. But law says the first exception is sale by a mercantile agent. Mercantile means in the course of business, merchandise. Somebody who is selling as an agent in the course of business, if you're acting as an agent to another person, then you can still sell the goods even if you're not the owner. Okay? So it says A has stolen some goods. Sell the stolen goods to B who buys in good faith. B will not get any title. Seeing example number 13, do you remember anything? Implied condition as to title. If you're not the owner, you cannot sell. That's why the true owner had the right to take back the goods from you. Remember? So here, if you're not the owner, you cannot sell the goods. But now we are going to understand what all exceptions do we have to this rule. So the first exception is that a mercantile agent can still sell the goods to the buyer in the following cases. Number one, if he has the goods with the consent of the owner. मेरी permission से goods अर्जुन के पास हैं? Yes, ma'am. Is Arjun acting in the ordinary course of business? वो as mercantile agent मेरा ordinary course of business में काम कर रहा है? बिल्कुल कर रहा है. Buyer ने good faith में act करा है. अब ये line बार बार आती है section 27 to 30 में. Buyer is acting in good faith. Good faith means buyer इस विश्वास and भरोसे के साथ goods अर्जुन से buy करता है कि अर्जुन owner. Acting in good faith means विश्वास के साथ. And buyer को नहीं पता कि seller के पास authority नहीं है goods को बेचने की. So provision to section 27 says he does not know. That means, say for example, I have told Arjun that now you're not going to sell goods. But buyer is not aware about this fact. वो तो यही मान रहा है कि जिसने दुकान खोली है वही owner है. So mercantile agent हमने day 1 में chapter section 2 में करा था, chapter number 1 में, that agent in the customary course of business जो sell करता है, consign करता है, buy करता है goods and even raise money on the security of the goods of the principal. So if these three conditions are satisfied, then it is a valid sale. So if examiner gives you a question, you will have to write, although a non-owner cannot sell the goods, goods can only be sold by the absolute owner. General rule is that you cannot pass a title, means you cannot pass the ownership if you are not the owner. Where it is written in the Latin maximum that nemo God not habet, which means no one can give what he is. मेरे पास अगर ownership नहीं है तो मैं आपको कैसे दे सकता? But one of the exception to this rule is sale by mercantile agent. Mercantile agent can pass a better title. Number one, he is in the possession of the goods. Sale is made in the ordinary course of business. His buyer is acting in good faith. And the fourth point, that the buyer had no authority, no knowledge that he had no authority to sell. Clear? So now, since you have understood the first point, so I wanted to do certain questions side by side with all of you. Sale and return basis we have done in the previous classes question, right? So where the goods are sold by a person who is not the owner and does not have the authority, then the buyer will not get a good title, means non-owner cannot sell. But one of the exception is sale by a mercantile agent, where he can make a valid sale. I'll show you one case study on this. All right. Let's do the next point and then we will do the case study. So if there are joint owners, second point is where the sale is being made by one of the joint owners. So A, B, and C are three brothers and they are jointly owning the television. And with the consent of B and C, the television is in the possession of A. A, B, C तीन भाई हैं और B और C की परमिशन लेकर टीवी किसके पास पड़ा था, किसकी पोजीशन में था, A के पास. अब क्या A वो टीवी सेल कर सकता है? Can one of the joint owners sell the goods? Law says it is valid under section 28. Why? If he's in the sole possession, means उसकी possession में goods पड़े हैं with the permission of the co-owners. He is transferring goods to the buyer who is buying in good faith, and at the time of contract of sale, buyer had no notice that he had no authority to sell. So point number one is satisfied. It's in the possession of A with the permission of B and C. He's selling who is buying in good faith, and the buyer is not having any notice that he had no authority to sell the goods. Clear? So let's see this case study which talks about the same case. A, B, and C are joint owners of the truck and possession of the said truck is with B. X purchased the truck from B without knowing that A and C are also the owners. What do you think? Whether the sale between B and X is valid or no? I give you 2 minutes. Apply your knowledge of section 28. I've given you a hint. And give me a proper framing of the answers in the chat box. Everybody has to write the answers. Excellent answers given by all of you almost. So very nicely you have applied the principle. Since the other joint owners are aware, that's why the contract is not valid, Priya is saying. Why, Priya? Give me the reasons for that. Okay, Tanisha is asking in case there is any fraud. So let's read the question once again because many of you have given very mixed answers. So where you are the joint owner and the possession of the truck is with B, X purchased the truck from B without knowing that they are also the owners. Now, how are you going to give your answers, children? Here you have to give your presumptions that B is having this truck with the knowledge of A and C. X is not knowing means without the knowledge that they are the joint owners. So first you will have to write down that any of the sale made by one of the several joint owner is valid. Only these three conditions are satisfied. Now in the study material, this is the same condition which is written in a paragraph. But here I have made it down in the point so that it becomes easy for you to understand and remember it. Okay. Somebody is writing about the stolen tractor. I don't know what are you doing, children. Prabhat Roy, very good answer. If he has not taken, it is valid if he has taken the permission. Good. Tanya, good answer. Okay, Shri Krishna, great. So one of the joint owner is having the sole possession. Possession is with the permission of the other joint owners, and buyer buys in good faith and had no authority and had no knowledge that the seller had no authority to sell. ये चारों पॉइंट्स अगर आप लिखते हैं तो आपको आउट ऑफ 3 मार्क्स में से 1 मार्क इसका मिलेगा. फिर आपको मिलेगा फैक्ट्स ऑफ द केस का. इन द अबव केस A, B, C are joint owners and it is in the possession with B. Now B is selling the goods to X. X is not knowing that whether they are joint owners or not. Sale between B and X is perfectly valid. I don't know why so many of you have written not valid just because you're saying that he is in the possession without the permission. So we will always try to make a positive assumption and give the answer. Okay. The sale is perfectly valid because section 28 clearly says that one of the joint owners is having the possession. So here A is having the possession. We assume that the permission of owners has been taken and buyer is buying in good faith and he has no knowledge that the seller had no authority to sell, which further gives rise to a valid contract of sale. उसने तो आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए ये लाइन लिखी है ना चाइल्ड कि उसको नहीं पता. He had no knowledge. तो वो तो है ये हमारे conditions में ही पढ़िए आपके point है. We have this point in the condition that seller had no, buyer had no knowledge that seller had no authority to sell. Means उसको नहीं पता कि seller had no. What is the meaning of this line that seller had no authority to sell? Means वैसे तो joint owners है, 3 लोग हैं ना, तो 3 लोगों की रजामंदी से ही ownership transfer होनी चाहिए. But यहाँ पे उसको नहीं पता कि अब वो मान रहा है कि आप ही एक ओनर. आप किसी शॉप में जाते हैं, हिंदी में बताती हूँ मैं आपको. आप किसी शॉप में जाते हैं. Omkar, don't disturb the class. You're not supposed to raise the hands in between. Put your hands down, Mr. Omkar. If you go to anyone's shop, do you ask them that are you the owner? Have you ever asked? Yes, Mr. Aditya, can you write down in the chat box? Now nobody will raise hands, children. So we never ask them, right? All of you have said no, ma'am. Why? Because we assume that the person who is sitting in the shop is the owner of the goods. Is that clear? Section 27 and 28. Are they clear to you, all of you? Yes, Aditya. What have you not understood in section 28? Okay, yes, ma'am. Now you have written. Let's proceed to section 29. Now, section 29 talks about something which reminds me about your Indian Contract Act. What is the meaning of voidable contract? What is the meaning of voidable contract? Remember Indian Contract Act? Okay, Shri Krishna, we'll answer these queries later on. At the option of one or more, you simply have to write. Prabhat Roy, it is for 3 marks. The law says facts and final conclusion, 1 mark each if it is for 3 marks. If it is for 4 marks, then we have at least 1.5 mark and 1.5 for the conclusion. Vindhya, very nicely you have given your answers. That's great. Something which is not... Children, you don't remember free consent chapter? If the consent is not freely given, then it becomes, the contract becomes voidable, simple. If the consent is not free, the contract becomes voidable. Void, it can be treated as valid or void. Very good, Jatin. Excellent. So everybody remembers voidable contract. So if I am selling the goods by fraud, I have purchased the goods under coercion at a gunshot, then the contract becomes voidable. Now I went to Mr. B and at a gunshot I said, sell me your car. So B was forced to sell his car to me. What happened now? The contract has become voidable. Either B can cancel the contract or he can treat the contract as in continuation only. Now, before B could take any action against me, I sold the good to Mr. C. Now, the contract was already voidable. It was obtained under coercion. Now, law says even such voidable contract, when you have purchased the goods under a voidable contract which has been caused because of coercion, fraud, misrepresentation, or undue influence, and the contract has not been rescinded till then, in that case, you can still make a valid sale. Let's read it. Example number 16. X ने fraud से एक ring ली बाय से. X कौन है? एक बायर है जिसने एक फ्रॉड से रिंग ले ली सेलर से जो कि वाई है. अब ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या बन गया? वॉइडेबल एट द ऑप्शन ऑफ वाई. यहां तक समझ आ गया? फ्रॉड हुआ है, कोर्जन हो, फ्रॉड हो, मिसरिप्रेजेंटेशन हो, तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बन जाता है वॉइडेबल. क्लियर? बट इससे पहले कि वाई इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिजाइन करता या टर्मिनेट करता या एंड करता, एक्स ने ये रिंग सेल कर दी जेड को. एंड जेड इज बाइंग इन गुड फेथ. कैन वी से दिस सेल बिटवीन एक्स एंड जेड इज वैलिड? Yes or no? First answer me this. Okay, Tanya. Mausami. Prabhat says not valid. Akshit says maybe yes. Naina says yes, valid. Mystica says yes, valid. Priya, Kausar, Abhishek, Janvi, Tanisha, Vindhya, very good. In good faith. Jatin, yes, because in good faith, excellent. Excellent. Shri Krishna, I'm just asking, is the sale between X and Z is valid or not? Rini Chauhan says, yes, valid. Beautiful answers. Finally, I could read what you have written. So now why it is valid? Because he's buying in good faith. The buyer, अब देखो बेटा ये क्यों बनाई है हमने exceptions? ताकि जो बेचारा buyer है, जो Z है, उसको तो नहीं ना पता कि X ने fraud करा है Y के साथ. हाँ, Y X के साथ क्या करेगा? That is a separate story. Y कर सकता है. You're asking me, na, ma'am, will Y take an action? Y can definitely take an action because Y has been cheated. Since Y has been cheated, Y can take an action against X. But here we are discussing, can X make a valid sale to Z? Yes, till the time contract is not terminated, means Y has not yet taken an action. Therefore, the sale made by X to Z is valid and Z is buying in a good faith. Now, even if the contract is subsequently set aside, he will get a good title. Y cannot recover the ring from Z, even if the contract. Y नहीं ले सकता उससे. क्यों नहीं ले सकता? क्योंकि Z अब owner बन गया है. Here, Z will become a valid owner. So, the points में learn करना है. अगर तो voidable contract है, point number 1. And contract अभी resign नहीं हुआ till the time of sale. Point number 3. Okay, write it down. Seller has got the goods under voidable contract. And that contract has not been rescinded. This seller can sell the goods further to the buyer who buys in good faith. Then this is a valid sale under section 29. क्लियर हो गया बच्चा? एवरीवन इज क्लियर? तनीषा इज आस्किंग मैम फिर y किसको स्यू करेगा? सो बेटा अब y z से नहीं ले सकता, बट y कैन टेक एन एक्शन अगेंस्ट x. Here y cannot sue z, but y can still take an action against x. Section 29, is it clear to everyone? 27, 28, 29 we have done. Now we are proceeding ahead to section 30. We are doing each and every line from the study material so that nothing is left undone. Sale by one who has already sold the goods but continues in the possession of the goods. Now section 30 subsection 1 and section 30 subsection 2 are very, very interesting. Here you will have to understand stories from. So I am a seller, Mr. A, who has sold the goods to Mr. B, buyer. But this B said that, I don't want to carry these big, big bags of the goods because I have to go and do certain more shopping and I have to go to the parlor also. I have to go for my dinner also. So can I keep these goods in your shop only? हिंदी में एक सेलर था जिसने गुड्स बेचे बायर को, और बायर कहता है कि क्या मैं अपने गुड्स आपकी दुकान में छोड़ जाऊं? वो कहता है हाँ जी छोड़ दो, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. सेलर ने बोला यस यू कैन कीप द गुड्स इन माय शॉप. नाउ रीड द हेडिंग. सेलर इज द वन हु हैज ऑलरेडी सोल्ड द गुड्स. क्या ये गुड्स मैंने बेच दिए हैं? हाँ जी मैम आपने तो बेच दिए हैं. क्या मैं अभी भी इनकी पोजीशन में हूं? क्या अभी भी मेरे पास पड़े हैं? हाँ जी मैम पड़े हैं. अब मेरी शॉप में आए मिस्टर सी, buyer 2. He said, I want to buy these goods. Can I sell them the goods to the third person? If I sell them to a third person and he is buying in a good faith and he is not having any notice of the previous sale, then C will get a better title. Although the property had been passed to the first buyer, but still I can make a valid sale. A pledge or other disposition by the seller in possession are equally valid. Even I can pledge those goods and borrow money. अब ये मत कहना मैम ऐसे आप कैसे कर सकते हो. इसलिए कर सकते हैं क्योंकि सेक्शन 30 में हमें परमिशन है कि अगर गुड्स मेरी दुकान में ही पड़े हैं, वो गुड्स बिक भी चुके हैं, फिर भी मैं उन्हें सेल कर सकती हूँ किसी न्यू बायर. What are the 5 conditions? Speak with me at your home in your mind. If the seller is having the goods, if the seller has sold the goods, but he still has the possession with him, he can sell them to a third person who is buying in good faith and he has no notice of the previous sale made to the first buyer. He can even pledge these goods. Okay? बायर अब जब आएगा बी देखेगा गुड्स उसकी सेल कर दिए तो वो बायर तो एक्शन ले ही सकता है ए के अगेंस्ट, बट सी के अगेंस्ट कोई एक्शन नहीं ले सकता. द सेल बिटवीन ए एंड सी इज अ वैलिड सेल. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? लेट्स रीड इट फ्रॉम द एग्जांपल. ड्यूरिंग द आईपीएल मैचेस बी बायज अ टीवी सेट फ्रॉम आर. तो आईपीएल मैच चल रहे थे, पी को टीवी देखना था, मैच देखना था, तो उसने टीवी किससे लिया? आर से लिया. पी इज अ बायर, आर इज अ सेलर. आर ने कहा कुछ दिनों बाद, आफ्टर सम डेज आई विल डिलीवर द टेलीविजन टू यू. सो नंबर 1, सेलर हैज, आर कौन है? सेलर. ही हैज सोल्ड द गुड्स. यस मैम. इज ही इन द पोजीशन ऑफ द गुड्स? यस मैम. Can he sell the good to a third person? Yes ma'am, at a higher price. If he is buying in good faith and without the knowledge of the previous sale, S will get a good title. Why he will get a good title? Because he is buying in good faith. उसको नहीं पता नो नॉलेज ऑफ प्रीवियस सेल्स मीन्स हिंदी में उसको नहीं पता कि ये गुड्स तो आर को बिक चुके हैं। आप ठीक कह रहे हैं मैम, हम गलत कर रहे हैं, तो सेलर को करना नहीं चाहिए, बट ये लॉ है। सेक्शन 27 टू सेक्शन 30 में एक्सेप्शंस दी गई है, जिसमें कहा गया है कि अगर आप ओनर नहीं भी हैं, अब यहाँ पे ओनर तो है नहीं है बायर सेलर, वो तो गुड्स बेच चुका है, प्रॉपर्टी ऑलरेडी पास हो गई है, फिर वो क्यों सेल कर रहा है? क्योंकि सेक्शन 30 उसे परमिट करता है कि अगर कोई न्यू बायर तेरे पास हायर प्राइस देकर आ रहा है और उस बायर की कोई गलती नहीं है, ऐसे तो बेटा देखो सेलर तो गलत कर ही रहे, तो बायर की तो कोई गलती नहीं है ना। जो एस है, क्या उसकी कोई गलती है? एस तो आपकी शॉप में आया, उसने गुड्स देखे, गुड फेथ में खरीद लिया, विश्वास और भरोसे के ऊपर, एंड उसे पता ही नहीं है कि प्रीवियसली सोल्ड है, तो इस करके एस के साथ तो कुछ नहीं होगा, बायर को गुड टाइटल मिल जाएगा, बट एक्शन कैन बी टेकन अगेंस्ट आर। अब सेक्शन 30 सबसेक्शन 1 में सेल करी है सेलर ने, क्योंकि गुड्स उसके पास थे। अब सेक्शन 30 सबसेक्शन 2 में क्या होगा? सेल करेगा बायर, क्योंकि गुड्स उसके पास है, बट अभी ओनरशिप नहीं आ, अभी ओनरशिप नहीं आ, क्या मैं सेल कर सकती हूँ? Can X recover the amount from Y? Yes, yes, Hiral. Definitely, they can take an action against each other, even in the voidable contract. Aditya is asking, what if Y terminated the contract? Then if Y has terminated the contract, then that case is not possible, Aditya. Section 29 फिर लगेगा नहीं, क्योंकि वहां पे एक कंडीशन मैंडेटरी है कि उसने अभी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को टर्मिनेट नहीं कर। Is that clear, everyone? So let's move to section 30 subsection 2. Here the buyer is having the possession. तो क्या हुआ है यहाँ पे? बायर के पास गुड्स तो आ गए हैं, बट अभी पेमेंट नहीं हुई है, ओनरशिप पास नहीं हुई है, प्रॉपर्टी उसे मिली नहीं, तब भी ही कैन बाय, सेल, प्लेज और डिस्पोज द गुड्स टू थर्ड पर्सन, and if such person obtain the deliveries in good faith and without the notice of lien of the original seller, then he will get a good title. Now, new word has come up, lien. I think it will be too much of the information. So first tell me section 27, 28, 29, 30 subsection 1. ये चार clear है सबको? पहले इसमें कोई डाउट है तो पूछ लो, बिकॉज 30 सबसेक्शन 2 में थोड़ा समझाना पड़ेगा अलग से। ओके मौसमी, आदित्य क्लियर, यस, नो डाउट, वेरी गुड। ओके अभिषेक को डाउट है, मैम बायर को एक चला गया। श्री कृष्णा, अक्षित, शॉर्ट में एक बार बता दो, अक्षित वर्मा कौन सा वाला शॉर्ट में बताना। क्लियर है, रवि कुमार से क्लियर, यस यस मैम क्लियर है, गुड। अभिषेक दोबारा लिखो अपनी क्वेरी, बिकॉज लॉस्ट हो गया वो मैसेज कहीं आपका। चैट बॉक्स की बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कत है। मेजर पावर ऑफ वन पार्टी। अंशुमन साहू, व्हाट आर यू राइटिंग? Okay, Janvi says yes, ma'am, crystal clear. So that's great. That's wonderful. So let's move to section 30, subsection 2. Then we can move ahead. So now what is happening over here? Here, what is the meaning of lien, first of all? Lien means having a right on the goods. Say, for example, this is my water bottle. So I have the lien on this, means I have a control on this. So say, for example, B has purchased it from me, but B has not made the payment, but B has just taken the goods as of now. उसके पास पड़े हैं, अभी प्रॉपर्टी पास नहीं हुई है, ओनरशिप नहीं हुई, तो दैट मीन्स आई हैव माई लियन ऑन द गुड्स। लियन मीन्स अ राइट ऑन द गुड्स, एक हक होना, गुड्स के ऊपर आपका हक है, आप अपने कब्जे में ले सकते हो, क्योंकि आपके गुड्स है। जो ओनर होता है ना, वो अपना लियन एक्सरसाइज कर सकते। लियन के बारे में डिटेल में अगली क्लास में बात करेंगे जब हम यूनिट 4 करेंगे। अभी के लिए आप समझ लो, मीन्स उसका एक हक होता है, उसका राइट होता है। राइट, नोटिस ऑफ लियन मीन्स अ राइट ऑन द गुड्स। सो बायर इज हैविंग नंबर वन, बायर ने सेलर की कंसेंट के साथ गुड्स अपनी पोजीशन में ले लिए, बट अभी प्रॉपर्टी पास नहीं हुई है, ही हैज नॉट बिकम द ओनर. Still, he can pledge, dispose, or sell of the goods to a third person. Fourth, he buys in good faith. Fifth, this buyer has no notice of the lien of the goods. So, क्या हुआ था? फर्नीचर हुआ बी को डिलीवर्ड एंड प्राइस 2 इंस्टॉलमेंट में पे होना. फर्नीचर तभी बी की प्रॉपर्टी बनेगी जब सेकेंड इंस्टॉलमेंट पे हो जाएगी, बट बी ने ये फर्नीचर सी को बेच दिया. अब अगर B is in possession of the furniture with the permission of the seller, he can pass on the title to the new buyer who is buying in good faith, and he has no notice that the original seller has a lien on this. So here, buyer will get a good title. Lee versus Butler का case. But a person under hire purchase cannot do this. This section is not applicable to hire purchase. Why? Because hire purchase में जब तक आप अपनी last installment नहीं pay करते हो, you cannot become the owner. So यहाँ पे एक चीज लिखिए, hire purchase method is different from sale which is paid in installments or EMIs. So if there is any sale in which monthly installments needs to be paid, that is different from hire purchase. Because hire purchase में ये वादा किया जाता है कि जब लास्ट इंस्टॉलमेंट पे होगी तभी आप ओनर बनोगे. उस केस में आप ओनर नहीं बनते जब तक आप लास्ट इंस्टॉलमेंट पे नहीं करते. So A took a car on the condition that A will pay a monthly installment as hire charges. Now he have to pay all the installments, then only become the owner. A sold the car to C, B can recover the car because A has neither purchased nor agreed to buy. तो अगर मैं हायर परचेज में गुड्स लेती हूँ, मैं बायर हूँ, मैंने हायर परचेज पे गुड्स लिए हैं, क्या मैं आगे सेल कर सकती हूँ? इन इंग्लिश, आई हैव टेकन द गुड्स ऑन हायर परचेज. कैन आई सेल द गुड्स टू अ न्यू बायर विदाउट लास्ट इंस्टॉलमेंट? Absolutely correct. Everybody says no, ma'am. Why? Because I have not become the owner. Clear? But if section 30 subsection 2 will become applicable, if I am the buyer, I have taken the goods with the permission of seller, and I am having the goods in my custody or possession. Buyer buys in good, I am selling it to new buyer who is buying in good faith, and he has no knowledge that the seller has a lien on the goods. Then will it make a valid sale? Yes or no? Very good. Yes, ma'am. Now it will make a valid sale. Very nice. Very nice. So is it clear to everyone? Now I give you a small break. Let's read all the points. And then we will have quick revision of these points and then we will go ahead. So we are taking a break here. Welcome back, students. So I hope you have gone through the 4 sections that we have completed. Let's move ahead. Now, before we move ahead, let's do one very important case study. Let me test your knowledge, how you're applying it. The buyer took delivery of 20 tables from the seller on sale and return basis without examining them. Subsequently, he sold 5 tables to his customers. Customer has filed a complaint of some defects in the tables. The buyer now wants to return the tables to the seller. Was the buyer entitled to return the tables to the seller under the provisions of Sale of Goods Act? Now you have to tell me here what is happening. Buyer has taken the delivery from the seller, and this is the case of section. Anyone can recall the section? Section 24. Yes, very good. Wherein he has taken the goods on sale and return basis. And now what is happening? He's selling the goods further. When do you sell the goods further? Only if any one of the 3 conditions have been satisfied. So let's see how you have to write the answer for this one. First of all, you will have to tell them that provisions of the case says that here the delivery on sale and approval basis, property will be said to pass only when he has either accepted the goods or he has done something adopting the transaction. In case he retains the goods without giving the notice, then there also it is said to be accepted. However, if no time has been fixed, then we look into the lapse of reasonable time. This is the provisions of the case which has to be written in any case. If you don't remember section 24, you will simply say as per the provisions of Sale of Goods. However, in the given case, what has the facts of the case? Seller has given the 20 tables on sale and return. Out of these, he sold the 5 tables. That means here he has accepted the 5 tables out of 20. Once I have sold the tables out of that, the goods have come on sale and return basis. Once I've shown my acceptance, that means here I have completely accepted the goods. And where we are talking about not negligence of examining the goods, the rule of caveat emptor will become applicable. So all of you have correctly mentioned. We did a similar kind of case study in the previous class also, wherein I told you that many a times 2 different principles or different sections can also be applied to a particular case study. So disjoint owner case, section 28, we have just done. Now let's do another case. Have we done this one? Case study number 10. Just try reading it. I don't think so. We have done this one. Let's try doing this. Let's solve this one. Okay, Nana is saying no, ma'am. Ma'am, section 30, subsection 1, short में बता दीजिए. Okay, बेटा, अभी हम बाकी sections को continue करेंगे. Let's first complete those sections and then we will jump back to the questions. So I hope no doubt till the 5th point. Section 30, subsection 1, Nana is asking in short. So subsection 1 and 2, simply you have to remember, अभी हमने short notes पे बनाए थे. यहाँ पे the goods are with the seller. यहाँ पे the seller is having the goods with him, although he is not the owner. Section 30, subsection 2 में goods are with the buyer. Even if he is not the owner, he is just having the possession. He can make a valid sale. In both the cases, valid sale कब होएगी? जब buyer good faith में buy करता है. उसके केस में previous sale के बारे में उसको नहीं मालूम है. और यहाँ पे उसे lien के बारे में, seller का lien है, means seller has a right on the goods. Buyer does not have knowledge about this. Is this clear? Tanisha says, ma'am, in that case study, वो कितने tables के लिए liable होगा? So for the 20 tables, 5 that he has sold, बच्चा, that means he has shown acceptance for those 5. So for the 15 tables, we have not been given the status. So either he had to return it, or if the time lapses, then he will be presumed to be the owner for those 15. Okay. Okay, good. Anisha says it's clear, ma'am. Yes, Akshat Jain, it is the similar case. That's correct. Section 24, if you'll write, it will definitely give you nice, good marks, but never write the wrong section. Okay, Bindya. Tanya Sharma is writing about the version. This is for the previous one. Sri Krishna, what are you writing? Okay, everybody has given the correct answers for that case study also. Now let's move ahead. Now, sixth case is effect of estoppel. What is the meaning of estoppel? You must have heard this word while doing Indian Contract Act also. And we would be repeating about the word estoppel in partnership also. So it's very, very important to understand what is the meaning of estoppel. Child, estoppel means if I have said something in front of another buyer, then I cannot deny from that fact later on. Say, for example, there was a seller, Mr. A, and a buyer comes to the shop, that is Mr. B. I am standing over there. I am Mr. C. And I say, look, I am the owner of this shop and I try to sell the goods to buyer B. Now, A is listening to this conversation and A remains silent. He did not say anything. And now law will say it will be assumed that as if I become the owner of the goods. We are doing the cases where I'm not even the owner, then also I can sell the goods. One of the point over there is effect of estoppel, which says that even if you're not the owner, still you have the right to sell the goods. Because with my conduct, with my behavior, I have made the buyer believe that yes, I am the owner of the goods. So A said to be a buyer in the presence of C. C था यहाँ पे owner. कौन owner था? पहले आप सारे लिखिए यहाँ. C is the true owner. A is trying to be the seller over here. And B is the buyer. Everyone will write down this. So A is actually not the owner. Who is the owner? C is the owner. But A is lying to him. He's saying that I am the owner of the horse. And C chup rehta hai. B purchased the horse from A. Now B will get a valid title even though seller had no title. C by his own conduct is prevented from denying A's authority. क्योंकि ओनर ने चुप रहकर ये assume करवा दिया है कि A ही owner है. Means his silence has amount to acceptance, means now the rule of estoppel will become applicable, which says that once you have said that you are not the owner, then it will be assumed that the owner remains silent, means now whosoever has said, he will be considered as the owner. C's silence had made B believe that A is the owner of the horse. So who will be considered seller in this case? A or C? What do you think? Who will be? I will close this so that I can see your answers. Otherwise, I cannot see the answers. Tell me who will be the owner. Shubhra says A. Very good. Jatin says A. Kausar, Tanisha, everybody. Well done. A will be the owner. Shivansh, Ravi, Pari, everyone. Good. And the last case is sale by unpaid seller. This is your chapter number unit 4. When we do unit 4, then we will do this point. As of now, we will not be able to understand this point. And last point is sale by official receiver or liquidator. The liquidator. Who is the liquidator, children? When the company goes into winding up, a liquidator is appointed. That liquidator will take the assets of the company in its hand, will sell it off and pay off the liabilities. So here, even if the liquidator is not the owner, still law has given him the right to sell the goods. Who is a finder of goods? Section 169 of Indian Contract Act, you've already done. Bailment, bailee chapter, where you are finder of lost goods. Here also, if you get a chance, you can sell the goods. If the chances of finding the true owner are quite high, then law has given you the permission that you can sell the goods, even though you're not the owner. So these three cases are the cases given under law, which you have already done 169 and 176. And unpaid seller is section 54, subsection 3, which we will do in the other chapter. Now we're going to start the last topic of this chapter, but I think ma'am is also here. Ma'am would like to speak to you. Or maybe we can start.
Yes, Harleen. Thank you so much, Harleen, for giving me 5 minutes off from this class. I just wanted to interact with the students. Yes. Good afternoon, dear students. As Unit 3 of Sales of Goods Act is being continuation, just stop light. Yes. As we are continuing with the Unit 3 of the Sales of Goods Act, this topic will be finished by today, and on Friday and Sunday. Please remember the class of Sunday. We are having 2 classes of Unit 4, that is unpaid seller. That is also a very important unit, because many a times a question is coming from last 2-3 attempts. The question of unpaid seller is coming from for your exam. So it is a very important unit. So don't miss the class of Sunday, and previous to that we have a class on Friday also. Now there is some 2-3 announcements I want to make, that there is a change in your LVC schedule for July and August. Please see the revised schedule on the BUS Knowledge Portal, because now onwards we have classes on all Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 1 and 2 to 4. And 2 classes of your business law has been shifted to Saturday, 11 to 1. But all the sessions have been now full, because due to webinars, we have to conduct the webinars. So there is some change in the LVC schedule. Please see the revised schedule and attend all the classes as per the schedule. We will upload the revised schedule of the webinars. We will upload in the BUS Knowledge Portal as well once it is finalized, and we will upload it on the WhatsApp group also. Okay, so please be patient with us. Meanwhile, you just finish your chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3 will also be finished by Sunday. So you can collect the doubts, if any, from these chapters, and you can ask in your webinars concerned, because there will be 2 webinars for Contract Act, since it's the last very vast chapter. One will be of Sales of Goods Act, one will be on partnership, one webinar will be on Companies Act, and one is a combined webinar for your negotiable as well as LLP. So if you are having any doubts, you can ask me also. You can ask me through the Ask Your Query. Yesterday, Rashmi ma'am was taking the feedback with all of you. We have communicated to you that all the queries some students were asking, that ma'am, I want to show my answer. So you can click the pic and show me the answer, send me the answer through Ask Your Query. Okay, many students are doing, you can also do. So I will check your answer and will send you the suggestions for improvement. Okay. One thing, the student yesterday in the class, the student was asking that, ma'am, how to present the answer. I think Omkar was there, but Omkar, just listen that on the daily basis, अभी भी हरलीन मैम ने आपको presentation of answer सिखाए हैं. तो जैसे मैंने आपको कल बताया था इकोनॉमिक्स की क्लास में, जब रश्मि मैम वाज टेकिंग फीडबैक, आई एम जस्ट रिपीटिंग दैट सबसे पहले जस्ट सी माय सेशन ऑफ 2 जून. उसमें मैंने आई हैव टेकन द इंट्रोडक्टरी लेक्चर ड्यू टू दिस रीजन ओनली, दैट बिकॉज इन द स्टार्टिंग ओनली we just communicate with you that what will be the strategy for taking this paper and for all the papers of your foundation. So just if any student has not seen that lecture, please see the recorded lecture of 2nd June 2 to 4. In that, I have communicated to you what are the publications, how to present the answers, both type. One type of question is your theoretical and one set of questions is your application. In application oriented questions, you can divide the answer in 2-3 paragraphs. Like in the first, you can write the legal provision. Okay, so legal provision is a must. I told you in that class also, I told you yesterday also, that writing of legal provision is compulsory. It contains stepwise marking. If the question is of 6 or 7 marks, then 2 to 3 marks will be allocated to your legal provision. Okay. So first of all, you can write as per the section. If you have not remembered the section, you can skip. As per the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872, you have to write the name of the full act along with the year. And all these names, year is given in your question paper. जब आपसे पूछा जाता है क्वेश्चन तो उसमें सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दे रखी होती है कि कौन सा एक्ट है, तो आप वहां से याद कर सकते हो. और वैसे भी देयर आर 5 to 6 एक्ट्स इन द बिजनेस लॉ पेपर, तो इट्स नॉट डिफिकल्ट टू रिटेन द नेम ऑफ द एक्ट along with the year. You can write. Then second, you can discuss the brief facts of the question, कि what are the requirement of the question, कि question में क्या पूछा गया है. Okay, so in that manner you can write in brief. Then in the last paragraph you can correlate, जो आपको facts दे रखे हैं उसको you can correlate with the legal provision and you can answer accordingly. So this is the method of presentation of the application oriented questions. Yesterday, I received a query through that in that class also, that ma'am, memorizing of law is difficult. Now students are facing, they are very much mature in doing the application because we are doing on the daily basis. Okay, so they are very much confident. But one student said that ma'am, learning of law is difficult. Okay, for that you have to be focused on the study material. जितना आप स्टडी मटेरियल पढ़ोगे उतना आपको रिवाइज हो जाएगा. यू विल बी एबल टू रिटेन द प्रोविजंस इन योर माइंड एंड राइट इन योर एग्जामिनेशन. फॉर द थ्योरेटिकल पोर्शन, फॉर द एप्लीकेशन ओरिएंटेड क्वेश्चन, study material is a must. So just by reading twice, thrice, 4 times, you will see that in the first attempt, if the section is taking half an hour, but if you are reading it second time, so it will take half the hour as consumed in the, for example, if we are taking half hour for first time reading, so when you will read it for the second time, it will take only 15 minutes or hardly 10 minutes. Okay, so this way your time on that chapter, on that provision will be reduced. So make a habit, read the study material carefully, but ये नहीं है कि you are only reading, just apply your mind also, because law is a theoretical paper. Okay, and you have to memorize, you have to remember the provisions. Application oriented questions you are doing very good, ठीक है, but आपको रिवीजन भी करना है, आपको प्रोविजंस याद होने चाहिए कि इस प्रोविजन में क्या है, और अगर आपका 6 to 7 मार्क्स का कोई क्वेश्चन आता है तो यू नो हाउ टू आंसर इट. इसके लिए आप प्रैक्टिस कीजिए थ्योरेटिकल क्वेश्चंस की. कहाँ से? फ्रॉम वेयर? यू कैन प्रैक्टिस द क्वेश्चंस एट द एंड ऑफ द स्टडी मटेरियल, फ्रॉम द सजेस्टेड आंसर, फ्रॉम द RTPs, फ्रॉम द मॉडल टेस्ट बुकलेट. ओके, there is so much. Sorry,
assignment questions also that we have.
Yes, notes and assignments. It also contains multiple questions, theoretical questions also, and your application oriented questions. So you are having the around question bank. Earlier it was 500 on the website of ICAI, but if we include the questions of notes and assignment, then your question bank will be around 700 questions. So see how much you have to study. If you want to clear the examinations, you have to follow this strategy. First, see the LVC class, then read and revise from the study material. I am just again reiterating you that we have also talked with top 20 students. Now I will talk with the top 20 students who have scored more than 80 marks in May 2025. I have not received the data till date, but I know the feedback will be the same, that study material is a must for clearing the examination. Okay, so just uthao study material, read it and attend the LVC class and fill the feedback form also. Yesterday, Harleen, we have received a positive feedback from all the students of you and Sudeep sir. So I was very happy
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are
Yes,
so
the
blessed to have
yes,
students.
all the students were appreciating you and our classes. So we feel satisfied after listening to all the students, and they are feeling the feedback also after the class. So all the feedback is very positive.
And one thing I want to add with you, ma'am, like you just told them about study material. So today I have taught them a very important topic directly from the study material, telling them how to make small notes and points from that. So that
Yes.
some content which they're finding difficult, they can break it into points for memorizing and learning it. That
Yes.
also becomes a little simpler for them.
Yes, for the notes they can refer your PPT also, and they can refer the Saransh also. Yesterday, one student was telling that Saransh of business law is fantastic,
It's
and
very
maths. So all the papers Saransh is wonderful. Just download it, and after completion in from the study material, just give a look at the Saransh also. It will not take much time. Okay. So if you are having any query, just write me through the chat portion, Abhi, and you can ask me the query through Ask Your Query portal also. Aline, you can continue. I will
all
see
right.
the queries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your time. And I hope students, you have understood. And this is a very, very important thing that study material plus the notes both have to be followed consistently. All right. So now let's move ahead. We are going to start. First, we will be completing our chapter and then we will be coming back to our case studies. We are left with the last part of the chapter, that is performance of the contract. Some children are still raising queries related to some questions. So let us first complete the syllabus and then I will go back into the chat box because it takes some time to read in the chat box. So let's complete the syllabus. So what is the meaning of performance of the contract? Now, since sale of goods, I told you, has been taken out from the Indian Contract Act only. So the basis remains the same as we have studied in Indian contract. First, we make a contract. We had all the essential elements. Then we performed the contract. There was a chapter, performance of contract. And then we have breach of contract. What was the meaning of breach of contract? If any of the parties do not fulfill the promises, what actions will be taken? Now, going forward, sale of goods, we are going to do the similar kind of things. Now we will understand performance of the contract. The provisions that you studied over there, similar kind of provisions over here. In sale, how the delivery is to be made, what will happen when the delivery takes place, who will be held liable, till the stage of delivery, who is liable, after delivery, who will become liable. That is explained in section 31 to 44. And then we go into the unpaid seller, which relates to breach of contract. Unpaid means I'm not paid for my goods that I've sold. So that means some kind of breach has happened. So unit 4 is kind of related to the breach of contract, how we take an action against the other party when the one party not fulfills the promise. ठीक है? So पहले हम performance पर ही saying मैम हिंदी में बोलो, तो बेटा आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू इन बोथ द लैंग्वेजेस, पहले इंग्लिश में समझाकर फिर मैं आपको हिंदी में भी ये सारा कॉन्सेप्ट समझाऊं. एंड लास्ट के 5-10 मिनट्स पर ही अगर आपको नहीं कुछ समझ आया तो आप मुझसे पूछ लेना डाउट्स में. ओके बेटा? So delivery means voluntary transfer. Now this is a repetition of unit 1, first topic. Delivery of goods means transferring the goods. Voluntarily means अपनी मर्जी से, forcefully नहीं कर रही हूँ, coercion पे करूंगी गन शॉट पे, फिर वो voluntary नहीं. So delivery means it has to be a voluntary transfer of goods from one person to another. Seller should be ready to deliver the goods and buyer is willing to buy. Clear हो गया? Delivery can be made in 3 ways. What are the 3 ways? Actual, constructive, symbolic. We have already discussed that. Now, first part is effect of part delivery of goods. Now, I am the seller and you have ordered 100 bags of rice from me. Since all the 100 bags of rice could not fit in one truck, so I am sending you one part of the 50 bags of the truck in one truck and another 50 bags is coming in truck number 2. So I said you have ordered 100 bags. सारे बैग्स उसमें नहीं फिट आ रहे थे तो 50 बैग्स 50 बैग्स एक ट्रक में डाल दिए मैंने. तो बायर ने वो 50 बैग्स एक्सेप्ट कर लिए. अब मान लिया जाएगा कि 100 bags की डिलीवरी हो गई. You cannot say that now I will not take those balance 50 bags. Why? Because part delivery means delivery of the whole. But it is different from the installment delivery, which I will tell you. Part delivery is not installment delivery. Part means हिस्से में आ रहा है. एक गुड्स एक ट्रक आ गया, अब दूसरा ट्रक अभी रास्ते में है, तो अगर आपने ये वाले गुड्स एक्सेप्ट कर लिए, it will be assumed delivery of whole of the goods have happened, unless there was an intention of severing. Unless there was a different intention, then it would be a different case. Otherwise, law says part delivery of the goods means whole of the goods has been delivered. Now you become the owner of whole of the goods. Who will apply for the delivery? Buyer will apply. Buyer को goods चाहिए. वो कहते हैं अगर हमने कुछ डिसाइड नहीं करा है, अगर तो हमने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में लिख लिया कि सेलर अप्लाई करेगा भी डिलीवरी कब होनी है या बायर अप्लाई करेगा. If it is silent, then it's whose responsibility? Buyer's responsibility to ask, come and ask that please sir, tell me where the goods will be delivered. What is the place of delivery? As agreed. Whatever place we have agreed in the contract, there the delivery has to be made. And if nothing has been agreed, then the place where the goods are manufactured or produced. Now, this is again a brief up taken from the study material only so that you can simply remember these point highlighters. You can also do one thing, keep highlighting in the study material whatever I have written over here. So that on the exam day, you just have to flip through the pages. Children, make a habit of using good highlighters, good pens in your module so that you just have to, because you will not have that much time to read each and every statement just before the day of exam. And one humble request I want to make you, one day before the exam, make sure that you flip through the entire pages at least once. पहले तो तैयारी करनी है, लर्न तो करके रखना ही है, क्वेश्चंस भी ट्राई करने, सब कुछ करना है, बट उस दिन एक बार ही सारा सिलेबस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू, कहते हैं ना नजर मारना, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Flip through pages of entire study material at least once, and when you have done these small chits, you have pasted your notes, then automatically the things come back to your mind when you open the pages again. All right. So if you have agreed the place of delivery, then that is the place of delivery. Otherwise, wherever the goods are manufactured or produced, the time will be whatever time you have fixed. Otherwise, reasonable time. Similar kind of things that you did in performance of contract. What is a reasonable time? Depends from case to case. Now, when the goods are in the possession of third party, it says when the third party acknowledges to the buyer that he has the goods on his behalf. Do you remember something reading this line? What comes to your mind? I will close the screen and then I will check your answers because then only I can see it. So what is this thing? When I say somebody, third party is acknowledging what? Very good. Jatin says constructive delivery. Excellent. So that is acknowledgement, delivery by atonement or constructive delivery is happening when third person is acknowledging that yes, the goods have been delivered. Installment delivery. Now it says in case of the installment delivery, buyer is not bound to accept the installments. Now what is the meaning of installment delivery? I am the seller A and I told you that instead of 100 bags of rice that you have asked from me, I will sell you 80 bags today and 20 bags I will be sending you after 2 months. Because I'm not having the goods, so I have decided to make the installment delivery. Here, buyer can totally refuse to accept my goods. So, मना कर सकता है. He is not bound to accept the delivery in installments. So, यही important बात थी यहाँ पे बताने के लिए. Part delivery different होता है. Is different from installment delivery. Part delivery means the goods are coming in 2 different parts. Here, the delivery of whole has happened. Installment delivery means where you are trying to give the delivery of the goods in different installments. Then the buyer can refuse to accept. Delivery to the carrier, we have already done this point. So this topic is kind of a revision of whatever we have done in chapter 3. So once the goods are delivered to the carrier, section 23, subsection 2, without reserving the right to disposal. So prima facie, who becomes the owner? Buyer becomes the owner because I have not reserved my right. Now, if the goods get damaged, buyer will be held responsible. Clear? Deterioration of the goods during transit. Now, if the goods get deteriorated, again, you will have to apply the same principle. If it is unconditional appropriation, we assume buyer is the owner, buyer will bear the risk. Specifically, it has been a case of section 25 where I'm reserving my right to disposal. Cash was the condition to be paid. Document of title has been used. Then the seller can become owner. Otherwise, if it is silent, it is assumed the risk is of the buyer. Right to examine the goods. Please give an opportunity to examining of the goods by the buyer. It is your responsibility also under caveat emptor to examine the goods. Sale by sample, it is seller's responsibility also to give the reasonable opportunity to the sale buyer to examine. And now we have certain rules regarding acceptance of delivery. What is the meaning of this? First, how the delivery has to be accepted. Buyer will intimate that, yes, I have accepted the delivery. So you can see the Amazon guy has come to that lady's house. She's signing it. Yes, I have got the goods. So acceptance has to be given means you're signing it off. You're showing some way of accepting that, yes, I have received the goods. Or you do any act which is inconsistent with the ownership. Buyer took the delivery of wheat without inspecting it and resold a part of it. Subsequently, you cannot reject the goods, even if the goods are not of description. Now, this is such a common case, which we do in so many case studies, like I'm selling you the sample, which I have not reviewed, but I sold it further. Once you have accepted the goods, now you cannot go back to that stage of rejecting the goods. Is that clear? So I have not, I have taken the delivery, I have not inspected, but I am selling it. That means I have done something which is equivalent to the acceptance of the goods. And the last part is retaining the goods after lapse of time. Similar point जो आपने sale and return में पढ़ा है. Buyer is not bound to return the goods, only to tell them he will be held liable for his own negligent or refusal. You have taken this mobile phone, it was decided it is on a sale on return basis. If you're retaining the goods without intimating that he has rejected, it will deem to be that he has accepted the goods. So what are the three rules regarding 31 to 44 tells you the rules regarding delivery of the goods. Here you are giving the acceptance of the goods, intimating to the seller, signing, telling him that I have accepted, doing something which is inconsistent with the ownership, or retaining the goods after the time period has lapsed. So this is your mode of delivery. We have already discussed these points, actual, symbolic, and constructive delivery. Now is the time for very, very interesting case study. So are you ready for the case study? But before that, let me just flip through the pages of study material also. हमारा कुछ topic रहता तो नहीं है ना, उसपे एक बारी देख लेते हैं. So these are the points which I've just discussed with you. You will learn the definition of delivery, and these types of delivery we have already done. Duty of buyer and seller का मतलब सिर्फ ये है कि seller की duty है सामान बेचना, buyer की duty है to buy it, to accept. Both are concurrent condition means buyer should be ready to buy the goods and make the payment. Seller should be ready to deliver the goods. So these are the 11 points that we have just discussed from my presentation. One by one, you can go through it. Example 21. Certain goods were lying at wharf, were sold in a lot. Seller told them to deliver to the buyer who had paid for them, and buyer accepted and took away the part of the goods. So buyer has taken the part of the goods, means delivery of whole of the goods has happened. Buyer ने बोला 30 bags of wheat थे, shop में थे, वो 10 bags ले गया, उसने कहा बाद में आता हूँ लेने, तो part delivery होगी means whole of the delivery has happened. Okay. Here you can write down constructive delivery. Section 36 subsection 3 is the case of constructive delivery. Expenses of delivery, very, very important. Till the time the goods are put in the deliverable state, who will bear the expenses? Seller. Goods बनाए, casks में डाला oil, pack करा, weighing करा, measuring करा. Deliverable state में लाने तक कौन bear करेगा सारा खर्चा? Expenses. Seller. And after the goods have been sold, buyer. Now, again, section 37 is something which is examiner's favorite. Many a time question comes from this. Selling delivery of wrong quantity. इसको भी हम 3 पार्ट में बच्चा डिवाइड कर लेंगे. Number 1 is where lesser goods are sold. Means you have contracted for 100 bags, but 80 bags have been delivered. Then what will the buyer do? Either he will accept the 80 bags and pay for them, or reject all the 80 bags. Case number 1, 100 bags का contract हुआ था, 80 bags ही आए, less than what contracted, accept and pay for the 80 bags or reject it. Second case is larger quantity has come. You have contracted for 100 bags, you have received 120. Now what will you do? Here you have 3 things to do. Either you accept the 100 and reject the 20, or you pay for whole 120, or you reject the whole of the goods. And if the goods get mixed with the goods of different description, remember the example of basmati rice, the long grains and short grains that have come mixed. If the contract is severable, reject the ones that you don't want. If it is non-severable, then whole of the goods will be rejected. Let's read example number 22. A agrees to sell 100 quintals of wheat at a price of 1,000. 1,100 quintals were delivered. B may reject the goods, whole of them, or accept 1,000 and reject the 100, or accept the whole and pay for them at the contract rate. ठीक है, 3 ऑप्शंस हो जाएंगे आपके पास. अगर ज्यादा डिलीवरी आई है, या तो पूरे रिजेक्ट कर दो, या पूरे एक्सेप्ट कर लो, या फिर 1,000 एक्सेप्ट करो एंड 100 को रिजेक्ट. इंस्टॉलमेंट डिलीवरी, आई टोल्ड यू 100 टन्स ऑफ पेपर, 80 आ रहा है, 20 बाद में आएगा. बायर कैन रिजेक्ट द गुड्स. P sold to Q a certain quantity of iron rods which were to be sent in proper vessel. Vessel का मतलब क्या होता है बेटे? शिप है, जहाज है जिसमें गुड्स आ रहे हैं. सी में एक शिप है जिसमें गुड्स आ रहे हैं, and those goods were iron rods. And sometimes what happened, because of this wetness of the sea, पानी में जब गुड्स आते हैं तो कई बारी गुड्स ना सीलन की वजह से डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाते हैं, खराब हो जाते हैं, उस पे रस्टिंग आ जाती है. So for all my English friends, when the goods are coming by sea, sometimes the goods, because of the water, get damp. So what happened? The goods were rusted, means junk lag gaya tha uspe iron. Now the rust was so minimal that the merchantable quality was still applicable. Here, buyer is bound to accept the goods. Buyer cannot say that the goods have become unmerchantable because this is the deterioration which is happening during the transit. तो कहते हैं कि छोटा मोटा जो ऐसे प्रॉब्लम आता है रास्ते में गुड्स आते हुए, सपोज आपका कोई पैकेट आ रहा था, आपका कॉस्मेटिक्स आ रहे हैं, उसका पैकेट हल्का सा टेयर हो गया, तो ये अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट खराब हो गया, लिपस्टिक थी और वो ब्रेकन हो गई, तो फिर आप यू कैन रिजेक्ट द गुड्स. देन इट इज अ डेटोरिएशन व्हिच इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. द गुड्स हैव बिकम अनमर्केंटेबल. बट इफ अगर ऐसा कुछ छोटा मोटा होता है डिफेक्ट, समथिंग व्हिच इज नॉट मेकिंग द गुड्स गेट डिस्ट्रॉयड, देन बायर इज बाउंड टू एक्सेप्ट. And these are the rules of acceptance which we have just completed. Then comes your summary. We have done all the points. And here your chapter gets finished. Now I want to do with you first case study number 10 and एक और था section 30 कहाँ गया? Yes. So let's do this 4 marks case study, which you all have to answer me and tell me how you will be writing in the exam. X, a furniture dealer, delivered furniture to Y under an agreement. Okay, Tanugiri, I will give you time for the hand raise. First, let's complete one case study about it, where Y had to pay the price in 3 installments. As per the terms of the agreement, furniture will become the property of Y on the payment of last installment. Before Y had paid the last installment, he sold the furniture who bought in good faith to Z, who is buying in good faith. X filed a case against Z for the recovery of the furniture, saying that Z had no time. What do you think on the basis of Sale of Goods Act provisions? Is it valid sale or no? I give you half a minute. Read this question once again and raise your hands and answer me. What would be the correct answer to this one? Yes, sir. Yes, Sandeep, you're audible. Okay, type it in the chat box then. Let me just open the chat box. Okay, Rachna would like to try it out. Yes, Rachna.
हेलो मैम, गुड आफ्टरनून।
Hello. Good afternoon, beta.
मैम इस क्वेश्चन में जो ये एक्स और वाई वाला जो क्वेश्चन था, उसमें एक्स ने फर्नीचर सोल्ड कर दिया था वाई को, बट वाई ने पेमेंट इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में करना था। तो थर्ड इंस्टॉलमेंट पे करने के पहले वाई ने सोल्ड कर दिया जेड को। तो इसमें जो जेड है वो टाइटल ले सकता है, उसका मतलब उसके पास ओनरशिप जा सकती है, बिकॉज उसने गुड फेथ में खरीदा था और उसको पता नहीं था प्रीवियस सेल्स के बारे में। तो
All right. Good try. Very nice, Rachna. Yes, Sri Krishna.
Ma'am, Z obtains good title against goods and hence X will not succeed in the suit to recover furniture from Z.
Absolutely. On the basis of sale made by the Okay, all right. Good answer, Sri Krishna. Yes, Sandeep.
यस मैम, हेयर मैम जो एक्स है, जो मतलब फर्नीचर डीलर था, वो मतलब रिकवर कर सकता है एक्स से, चाहे वो गुड फेथ में क्यों नहीं खरीदा हो। यहाँ पे मैम जो वाई जो था मैम, ये इंस्टॉलमेंट पे लिया था, जो मतलब हायर परचेज पे लिया था मैम। हायर परचेज डिफरेंस से आपने बताया था। तो मैम यहाँ पे जो बायर था, मतलब प्रीवियस बायर यानी पुराना बायर, वो मैम सेलर से मतलब अग्री नहीं करता है, जो हम खरीद ही लेंगे या मतलब खरीदे हैं, तो इसीलिए मैम इट इज नॉट वैलिड। और मैम
All right, good. So very well tried by all of you, and I appreciate the way you are applying your conceptual knowledge. So children, now here the hidden point is, if you write the assumption about hire purchase, then this could have been a correct answer. But my dear friends, what is he writing? X, a furniture dealer, delivered the furniture to Y under an agreement of sale. So he is specifically telling you that this is a case of an agreement to sell and the payment is being made in installments. So I told you there are two different cases. One is the case of hire purchase. There, section 30, subsection 2 cannot be made applicable. Another is where the sale is being made, but the payment is being made in installments. There, section 30, subsection 2 can be made applicable. So depending upon the assumption that we use, we have to frame an answer for this. So it says, first of all, you will give the permission, you will give the provisions of the case. Section 30, subsection 2 tells you, you are the buyer, you have the possession of the goods before the property has passed. Property has not been passed because it is a case of agreement to sell. And here, if the new buyer takes the goods in good faith and without the notice of lien, then he will get a good title. Now, what are the facts of the case? Second paragraph, furniture was with Y under agreement to sell. 3 installments were to be made. And it is clearly written that the furniture will become your property on third installment. वहां पे उसने लिख दिया कि जब आप तीसरी इंस्टॉलमेंट दोगे तभी आप ओनर बनते। Since you have not paid the installments, you have not become the owner. Since you have not become the owner, you cannot make the sale. All right. Since he purchased it, therefore, Z acquired a good title since he purchased it. So X will not succeed as he has already passed a good title. So again, there is a difference between the point of installment method. If we are using, then yes, he can make the sale. Had it been a hire purchase, then no, he could not have made sale. Because children, under hire purchase, there is a strict condition that unless and until you do not become the owner, yes, Tanugiri, X will not be successful. Why? Because this is the case of section 30, subsection 2, where the sale was being made in installment basis. And here the buyer is getting good title. He's buying in good faith. Then he can. Okay, Tanisha says, okay, ma'am. So I hope you all have understood the concept. Yes, Sri Krishna, absolutely. In case of hire purchase, he will not get a good title. That's correct. So I hope you don't have any more doubts, and we'll be meeting on day after tomorrow. That is for a new chapter, unpaid seller. But still, yes, Tanu, I'm giving you a chance. But still, if you have any doubts, you revise this chapter, go through all the questions given at the back of study material also. And still, if you have doubts, you can ask.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Peter.
Ma'am, I have doubt related to installment delivery. Ma'am, if buyer denied first installment, so he can get or exceed the second one installment?
Yes, no. If it is a choice given to him, if he's accepting it, he can. But otherwise, he has the right to reject the goods.
Okay, ma'am.
Here we have given him the right that if you want, you can reject the goods. Okay.
ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Akshat Jain.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, ma'am, how much do we have to write for a 3 mark, 4 mark, and a 7 mark question? Like 1 page, 1.5 page. Like once, could you tell?
Okay. Before that, Brini Chauhan is asking how will we decide good faith or bad faith? So again, this is an assumption that you have to write, bacha, that the buyer is buying in good faith. Okay. Okay, Sandeep is saying liquidator and estoppel. Okay, I'll explain. Yes, Akshat Jain. See, it depends if it's a 3 marks question and it's a case study provision. Then you simply have to write 3 different paragraphs, as ma'am also explained you now. Provisions, the facts of the case, conclusion. If the same question is for 4 marks and we expect you to do little more analysis, then you just have to correlate the provisions and the conclusion together. You put some small analysis and then you conclude the answer. So there cannot be much of the bifurcation between 3 and 4 marks. The content should be correct. That is what's. All right.
Ma'am, what for a 7 mark question?
What for a
7 mark question.
a 7 marks case study will generally be 3 to 4 marks. 7 marks will be a theoretical question where you have to write all the points related straightforward.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Understood.
All right. So, okay, if you still have any doubts, we will clarify the doubts in the next class. Just revise it. First, revise it. Do your homework. Read the word stopper, liquidators, all these points. Read once again. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the next class. Okay? All right. All right, sir. We are done with the class. Thank you. Omkar, you want to ask something? Yes, Omkar.
गुड आफ्टरनून मैम।
Yes, good afternoon.
जैसे कल आपने बताया था मुझे लॉ के लिए स्टडी कैसे करना चाहिए, मैं वैसे तो फॉलो कर रहा हूँ। और क्या करना चाहिए लॉ इजी जाने के लिए?
क्या बेटा?
लॉ इजी लगने के लिए और क्या करना चाहिए? कल का मैंने फॉलो किया है जो बताया था।
हाँ, अभी आप वो फॉलो करो, एक बार नोट्स बनाओ कंप्लीट करके, फिर इस चैप्टर को रीड करो। कोई डाउट आता है तो यू कैन आस्क मी इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. ओके. Word limit. Tanisha is asking word limit. Tanisha, it is not an English exam. You're not writing essays. So there is no such word limit, but don't extend your answers to different pages. Try to write to the point. Okay. Thank you, Priya. Thank you for saying it's a wonderful session. Thank you, all of you. Okay, Naina, we'll clarify this in the next class. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, children. See you in the next class. All right. Yes, Akshat, you can write in your own language. All right, sir, we are done. Yes. Thank you.